462 million people are affected by type 2 diabetes, and this number continues to grow. Now, a big reason for this is nutrition and exercise. The diet is huge with diabetes. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about nutrition today. This is the third in our series of 5 nutrition videos. My name is Jim Reynolds, and I'm with Ultimate Mission. Ultimate Mission is a missionary training organization. We train health workers all over the world to meet the communities and the needs of their communities through health. So today, Lynette Holmes is with me. Lynette is a registered nurse, and she has worked in Africa. Matter of fact, you lived in Africa for 7 years.
Yes.
And you have taught nutrition in Africa. You've taught nutrition here for Adventist Health in the United States. So when we're going to be talking about nutrition today, and we'll bring in diabetes in a little bit, but we're going to be talking about some of the different aspects of nutrition. And the first question I want to ask you, I mean, a lot of people are thinking, hey, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to get more healthy, I don't want to eat fat, but we need some fats, don't we? So what kind of fats do we need, and why do we need these healthy fats?
Okay, so primarily we need healthy fats like in avocados, in bananas, in nuts and seeds. Those are really healthy fats. The problem comes when we take corn, for instance, and we take fields of corn and we make oil out of it, and we have just a small amount of oil, thinking of the huge field of corn that there was. Or some other oils are canola oil, sunflower oil, there's lots of oils. And we take away all the nutrients and we just have the oil. But a little bit is not a problem. I mean, there's lots of foods that we need that have a little bit of oil, and what it does, it makes us feel full, it makes us feel satisfied, the food tastes good when we have oil in it, and there are vitamins that are only found in oil. So we do need some oil in our life. We can't just take it all away.
We need some healthy fat.
Yeah, and this is possible to get it just through the avocados, bananas, and nuts and seeds. But if you use a little bit of oil, that's in my house, it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't use it a lot.
Yes. Well, it's nice to cook with a little bit of oil. I know I dump a little bit of oil in my brown rice, just a little bit. It makes it taste so much better. Everybody talks about proteins and how we need protein. So what do proteins do for our body?
Proteins are kind of the building blocks, and they also they help to transport vitamins and minerals, and they build new bones and muscles, and cells are made up of protein, especially the outside layer of the cells sometimes are made up of a fatty layer, and the proteins are transporting lots of important things to our body cells. It's really an important part of our life. So I want to just mention a plate. Pretend like you have a round plate like this, and you're going to divide it into 4 sections. Okay, half of this plate on this side, let's say there's fruits and vegetables. Half of our diet should be fruits and vegetables. And the other half can be divided into proteins and grains. So there's lots of different types of protein. Most people think they need meat to have protein.
Right.
But you can use legumes. Legumes have a very high quality protein.
Which are beans.
And the legumes are beans and chickpeas. There's many lentils. There's many things that make up the legume family.
Soy is huge with protein, right?
Ah, yes, there you go. Soy is very important, and it's a very good protein. And then the other part is the whole grains. And sometimes you'll eat a refined grain, but really the whole grains are what is best for you. So make
whole wheat bread, brown rice. Yeah.
And if you eat some of the white bread or something like that, it should be a very small portion of your diet. it really shouldn't even be there, but sometimes you can't find anything else.
Well, I heard one doctor say, the whiter the bread, the closer to dead. Is that, so,
I would say that.
and I'd say the whiter the rice, but it doesn't rhyme with dead, so I can't use that same rhyme. But yeah, white rice is the same problem as white bread.
Okay, I have one too. The bigger the snacks, the bigger the slacks.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah. So that is another problem with, you know, because we eat so many refined foods, and we take away the nutrients, and we are left with something that is made to taste good, but it doesn't necessarily give our bodies nutrition.
Yeah. So when you take like corn, which is very good for you, and you take and squeeze all the oil out of it, so you could be eating enough oil that you'd had a whole row of corns worth of oil in one sitting, just because you've concentrated that oil down. And so yeah, it's very important to eat the foods as God gave them to us.
Yeah, and you know, there's another problem that I've seen in Africa, and that is many of the people depend on corn. Corn is the staff of life. And one thing, it's white corn, and they don't, the greater the color of the food, the better the nutrients are. And so they will pound it until it becomes a flour, and then the chaff, they'll blow it away in the wind. And maybe the chickens will eat it, I don't know, but that's a part of the food as well. To make it a whole food, you should eat the whole corn.
Eat the whole corn. Eat it the way God gave it to us. Although, you know, it's okay to make wheat out of and all that good stuff, but try to eat it as close to the natural as possible.
Yes,
to get the most benefit out of it. So now we get vitamins, minerals from all these different fruits and vegetables. So tell me a little bit, Lynette, about vitamins and why those are important.
We're going to talk about the nutrition deficiency diseases, and a lot of it is just they're missing a vitamin, or minerals are being missed, and that is causing some of these diseases, like I mentioned kwashiorkor, where your hair turns red, and it's a protein deficiency. You don't have the support system for your body. Children will have stunted growth. And then another one is scurvy, where you're not getting the vitamin C. And then you have a problem of weak bones, and maybe the child's legs will be curved outwards like this, or inwards. There's all kinds of problems that can develop from.
I've heard of children eating dirt because they're lacking in some vitamins.
You know, I've heard that too, and that could be true.
Yeah.
I think some children eat dirt just for the fun of it.
Right.
But there are some vitamins that are very important that sometimes we don't get, and vitamin D is one of those. And for people who live away from the equator, if you live near the equator, you're doing pretty well getting sun. But we live up here in the Northwest, and the sun is only up very high for a few hours during the day in the wintertime. And we need to make sure that we're getting enough sunlight so that our bodies have vitamin D. And a lot of times we have to take a supplement because we just can't get enough. And in general, most of the vitamins can be gotten from all of the variety of fruits and vegetables. But vitamin D is difficult to get if you live way up here in the Northwest or way in the South as well. I mean the Southern Hemisphere.
Right.
If you're living close to the equator, you're getting a better supply of vitamin D because it comes from the sun. It's a sunshine vitamin. Yeah. And then another vitamin that I pretty much eat a plant-based diet, and so I'm not getting very much vitamin B12. And so I just want to at least mention that if you decide to become plant-based as myself, you need to make sure you're getting B12. So you're going to ask me, where do you get it from? Well, vitamin B12 is actually in the soil. It's
so you got to eat dirt to get vitamin B12.
Yeah, so those kids that are eating the dirt,
I think that's for iron, though. I don't quote me on that. I think that it's when they're lacking iron, they're eating the dirt. But
you know, what do? We grow carrots in our garden, and what I learned as a child is we just swished them in the grass like this, and we'd get the dirt off, take them in the house, and we would just rinse them under the faucet and eat them with the skins and a little bit of dirt. That's where the vitamin B12 is. And so by eating such a sterile diet like we do today, and everything that we buy from the store, the carrots, well, I can't say they're all peeled, but they're very clean.
Right.
You don't sell carrots with dirt on them unless you get them from a farmer's market, which would be healthier.
Right.
And so we need to just be sure that we're getting the supply of B12 that we need. And it's stored up in our body for a long time, for years. So it's not usually a problem, but it can be a problem.
So basically, if we eat fruits and vegetables of all types of different colors, we will get the vitamins that we need. And they'll come to us in a way that our body can absorb them best. Because a lot of vitamins you have to take with another vitamin in order for that vitamin to actually be absorbed into your system correctly. But if you eat a healthy diet, a plant-based diet, and try to have as many plants, fruits and vegetables and whole grains as you can can get most of the vitamins you need without taking a supplement.
That's correct. Yeah, that's you're right on there.
And so, yeah. So now I want to talk about another thing while we're on diet. I want to talk about diabetes, because diabetes is a huge problem. As I mentioned before, I mean, 462 million people right now are affected with diabetes. And that number, they're predicting it to just keep going up. I mean, what can we do? What's happening when a person has type 2 diabetes? What is happening with their body?
Okay. I'm going to just talk a little bit about type 1 diabetes first.
Okay.
Because there's a difference between type 1 and type 2. Type 1, it means that the pancreas actually isn't producing enough insulin for our body. And so people have to take a supplement of insulin. And there's a lot of controversy as to why people get diabetes. Is it something that's hereditary? Often it can even happen from a viral infection or something of that sort, that you wiped out these cells in our pancreas that are producing insulin. So in type 2 diabetes, what happens is the cells are not allowing the insulin to go into the cell. The insulin is being produced by the pancreas, but it's not it's not allowed into the cells by the cell receptor. The cell receptors are closed to it. It comes and they won't open up like they do in a healthy person and let the sugar into the cells. So what happens is the sugar ends up in the blood and in the urine, and these sugars can get very, very high, and people can get very, very sick.
Okay. And you have to take insulin to kind of flood your system with these sugars, so
yeah.
you can so the cells that are open, you can still get something into those. Is
Yes.
that? Yeah.
And that's right. And also sometimes there's some tablets like metformin. There's many tablets that also work in that way. But when it gets really bad, then you have to go to insulin. And then there's one other type of diabetes I just want to mention, since we are going to be talking to a lot of ladies, and that's gestational diabetes. And it just seems like the body has a limit to how much insulin it can produce. And sometimes in women, when they gain the extra weight with a baby, another life that they are carrying, they actually are not able to produce enough insulin, and they'll get something called gestational diabetes. So
not much they can do about that, maybe.
No, but well, we can do something, and that's with diet.
With diet, okay. So just keep eating a healthy plant-based diet will help with that. And I've also understand that exercise is huge when it comes to diabetes, because what happens is our cells the receptors aren't opening up because we've quit using them. We've quit exercising. The muscles aren't really working. We're sitting down all day. We're not using those muscles, and so now they think, well, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do after you eat is go for a walk. And just think of what that would do for helping with your digestion. Now, you don't want to go for a run, but a walk is nice, and you can go for a brisk walk. But running after you eat would not be a pleasant thing to do. I used to be a runner. Do you know that I ran a marathon one time?
I did. A 26-mile marathon?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
my goodness. I don't know what that is in kilometers for those of you who do kilometers, but that's a long ways to run.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm guessing maybe, is it 50? Anyway,
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know.
I'm not sure.
It's 26.2 miles.
So what causes a person to get type 2 diabetes? Why would I get this in the first place?
Well, one of the main causes is poor nutrition, and it's a shame because so many of the diabetes cases are here in the United States, and here I'm saying it's caused by poor nutrition. But you know, some people are eating a diet very high in fat and saturated fat. Now, these aren't the good fats that I told you about. These are the fats that are produced by man. They're not God's fat. And And then the other thing is sugar. We eat a lot of sugar in our diet, and it's been refined. You know, some of the sugars that we get from fruits and vegetables are healthy sugars. Beets have a lot of sugar in them. Carrots are actually quite sweet. This summer I grew tomatoes in my garden that were very sweet. And almost every fruit and vegetable is sweet. So we get a lot of natural sugar, but when we refine it, and then we start to see cases of diabetes go up.
Yeah, because when we refine it, what we do, because the fiber encases the sugar. So the sugar is released slowly into your system when you eat it naturally. When you refine it, you take all that fiber away, and so boom, you just get the straight sugar. So that is... That's a big problem. Lack of exercise, refined, and white bread, white rice are also basically sugar.
Right.
So when we're eating those white bread and white rice, because I know in India, when I've read an article where they're attributing the large consumption of white rice to diabetes, to the huge growth in diabetes in India.
Yeah, let me explain why that happens. When you eat food, you kind of have a level here where your blood sugars are. And this may be around 90 that I'm showing you right now. And then as you're eating food, this will spike up. And the spike is very high when you eat white foods. It goes, because the sugars are easily digested, and so it goes up like that and then back down. Sometimes it'll even go down below that normal level, and then you really feel rotten too,
Right.
and then it'll come back to the normal. But if you eat foods that have the fiber with it, it takes longer to digest, and so this curve will just be a gentle curve, and then it'll go down. And so that's not as hard on your body, and isn't as demanding on the insulin that your body needs to produce.
So some of the symptoms of diabetes are, well, you have to urinate a lot. You feel thirsty all the time.
Correct.
What are some of the other symptoms of what you might start getting checked for diabetes?
Sometimes your vision is blurry, and you're just not seeing as well, and you think, oh, I'm getting old or something like that, and I need to wear glasses, or maybe I'm just not going to be able to see as well, but it could be diabetes, so that's worth having that checked out. And then sometimes people with diabetes will have trouble with wounds, and especially their
won't
feet.
heal
They
very
have to be very careful with, they should always wear shoes, because if they step on a stone, sometimes there's neuropathy and you just don't feel it very well. You can't feel that stone in your shoe or that you've stepped on.
Yeah.
And you'll get an infection in your foot, and then it just doesn't heal very well.
Ingrown toenails, all
Yes.
kinds of, there's a lot of stuff. You got to be careful if you have diabetes. So how do we prevent and treat type 2 diabetes? What are some of the things that we can do to prevent it and to treat it if we do have it, and try to maybe even reverse it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I would suggest, is reversing it, and we've just talked about the ways to do that through a healthy diet. But if you have diabetes, and type 2 diabetes, sometimes I've seen people with blood sugars up to 400, 600. You really need to see a doctor. And you need to get on the right path to good nutrition. You need to become educated, learn what you can about diabetes and what you can do to prevent it. And often a doctor will tell you that you're going to have to take some medications.
Yeah, and I've seen some serious cases of diabetes where people have lost their limbs, people have lost their vision, people have lost their life because of diabetes. If you find yourself getting some of these symptoms, or know somebody getting these symptoms, please work with them and help them to get to a doctor, number one, and get some treatment, because they may need insulin, they may need some pills, but also try to help people or yourself to have that healthy diet. And exercise is always good. Thank you very much for joining us today. If you like some of the things you're seeing and the information you're getting, please go and hit the subscribe button below, and maybe even the bell, so you can be informed when our next video is. And I just want to thank you for joining us today. God bless. Have a great day. We would love for you to be a part of our Ultimate Mission family. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, like and share our videos, donate if you would like. Let's work together to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to the world.